Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Off Harbor and Maine podcast. I'm Joel Covey, coming to you from the peaceful Tropical Lanai Studios here in Orange County, California. This week I'm joined by my close friends Beth, Matt, Derick, and we have an extra guest today. Our friend Braden has joined just for some extra commentary. All right, so let's go around the room real quick. Hope everyone's doing well. How's it going, Beth?
I'm hanging in there, hanging in there. And tonight I'm drinking a Moscow Mule because it was quick and easy, and we're recording late tonight, and it took me a little bit longer to put my child to bed, so it was quick and easy today for a Moscow Mule.
Excellent. It's a no ice Moscow Mule?
It's starting to melt. So
okay.
we've been sitting here discussing.
I heard it a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
Good. Nice. And how's it going, Matt?
I'm good. Just happy to not be at work.
It's always nice to be at home, not at work, right?
This is one of our late sessions.
Wait, how many did you have before we started?
I know. What was the pre-party?
I have none.
Are you drinking any?
I have none. I have had none.
Okay.
Today I have a Diet Soda Stream Cola that I added Malibu rum to. It's actually quite tasty.
Ooh.
It's paying off.
Nice. How are you doing, Derick?
I am doing much better now that we're here. I've been trying to avoid all the news lately and want to stick my head in the sand, but I am doing much better now that we're all here together. And I brought with me a rum and Coke, and it's actually an orange vanilla Coke to be exact. So it's an interesting combination, but very tasty.
Nice. And hey, that's why we're here, right? Just to be a little bit of an escape for hopefully some people too. So,
Yes.
Braden, how are you doing?
Doing all right.
What do you got drink? Are you drinking something?
I have some wine. It's a white Zinfandel.
Ooh.
It's
Nice little rosé.
Yes, it's on the sweeter side, which I like.
So for those that don't know, Braden's not a big drinker. He does prefer his lighter cocktails, I would say, as long as it doesn't taste like alcohol. Would that be fair?
I'm good. Yeah, pretty
Stingy.
much.
No.
What was that, Matt?
Stingy.
No stingy.
No sting. Well, excellent. Well, I am drinking a Stone, as you know, kind of for the norm for me, but I'm drinking a Stone Scorpion Bowl IPA, a nice 7.5% alcohol percentage, so not too much, but just right. And hopefully we'll be having a few tonight. So with that, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
So this week I want to start off a little bit different. I think I was going to just talk about some corrections. Nothing too major, but I thought it'd be good.
What did you
You
do?
were wrong.
You was wrong, Joel.
Can we make a sting for that? You were wrong.
You're wrong.
Perfect. I just wanted to go over just some corrections to what I've said in the past. So, for instance, it was a couple episodes ago, I was talking about the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights not having alcohol offerings, but in truth, it actually does have a couple locations. Matt corrected me. So they do still offer alcohol, and hopefully, when they do reopen, if it's not this year, that they continue with that trend. It's great to hear that they still have it, though, because with Dark Harbor, it was the only one left that I thought had alcohol, and with that gone, I was concerned there was nowhere else for me to get a drink at a haunt. So that's good.
I just got to say, the reason I knew that there was alcohol, because that pretzel that I had that night was amazing, because I was already 2 drinks in, and they were pouring heavy.
So you needed to soak in.
You need to soak up those.
Oh, I sat there outside of the Animal Actor stage with 2 drinks and a pretzel.
I wish I was there for that one.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, right?
No.
Okay.
How many drinks did you have, Joel?
Well, apparently none, because I thought they didn't have any. I must have missed the 2 locations it was actually at. Also, on episode 2, I left out Together Forever in the fireworks rundown for Disneyland. We included in our Twitter competition, but I'm unsure why I didn't mention it on the show.
You can quietly hear me saying "Together Forever" in the background.
Oh,
Go
you
back and
said
listen.
It?
You can hear me saying it.
Oh,
You hear me say
I
it like-
didn't need to correct myself.
Oh,
Right.
you were right.
It was there.
Well,
It was in there.
That was right.
Yeah,
You were still wrong.
It was when you were adding the
No,
miscellaneous.
we collectively were right.
there we go. Well, to recap, Together Forever, a Pixar nighttime spectacular. The show celebrated friendship, and ran during Pixar Fest at Disneyland Resort. Then it opened from April 13th, 2018 and went through September 3rd of the same year. But that show was bookended by Remember Dreams Come True. So short-lived, and it was just for the festival. And I'm impressed Disneyland was able to do a show that only ran for the course of a festival and didn't go for
exactly.
Maybe
Is that the one with the Buzz flew in instead of Tinkerbell? Was that that?
Didn't they have Buzz and they had the Up House as
no,
well?
Up was in Magical.
No, they
was
had
it
the
in
Up House.
Pixar?
Magical
Oh,
had
okay.
Dumbo.
All right, I stand corrected. Thank
Again.
you. I know. Who am I?
Have to do a whole other podcast.
I also had a request to point out that I did not come up with the name of the show. I wanted to be fair to Stephen Love, Beth's husband. He came up with he came up with Off Harbor, but it was Matt that plussed it and came up with the and main part. So to
I added that pixie dust.
And to reiterate, Stephen Love did come up with the show name. Matt plussed it.
Steven had the birthday cake castle, and I made Shanghai's.
Got it. So his version was the birthday cake castle. Matt's
And then-
version is Shanghai Disneyland's castle.
Yes.
Castle.
Yeah.
Cancel. Well, let's move on to our first segment here with the announcements of Walt Disney World to open with a phased reopen on July 11th and July 15th. We know the days until we can get back to the parks in the West Coast could actually be kind of imminent, so it could actually be soon, but we'll see. No announcement yet as the date we were recording this. But I know we expressed previously what we would want to see if we feel comfortable with the parks, but we wanted to go over what are some rides we just can't wait to get back to. So Disney is known for being typically top-notch with their queues and fully immersive experiences. And I say typically because none of us are such shills that we cannot admit that other theme parks out there can have just as well done immersive lines and experiences like Harry Potter. I know Transformers, decent line, right? Matt?
I don't think Transformers that good.
No? The line? The queue?
Nah.
Is that the one
Still a lot
that
of buttons to push.
Derick ran out of?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, that line was terrible.
That's the only reason
Too
why
long.
Derick likes it, because there's easily accessible exits.
Well, let's review real quick so we're not keeping the audience out. Derick had to run to the restroom. He went out, got to the restroom, came back,
Yes.
and single rider and beat them, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We had a beer beforehand, so in
It was
the
a
line,
tall beer.
the line was very long. In every
And
room,
windy.
we thought it was, it's almost there. We're almost there. No, we were not almost there. So he had to make a quick emergency exit to relieve himself. But he made it. He made it back on the ride.
That's
The
good.
restroom was actually the best part of the ride.
It's not that
Transformers
bad.
is great.
No,
Shut
I mean,
up.
but in
One of my
terms of
favorites.
feeling,
Oh yeah.
for me
Derek, it
personally, it was
Yeah.
the best feeling.
Transformers is great,
It was
but
great,
Spider-Man's better.
100%.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But okay, some rules. We're going to keep this focused to our Disney stateside parks. Everyone can do 5.
I came up with 1.5.
Did you not
That's
get the
it?
5 attractions
No,
memo?
I missed that memo.
Oh,
I think you can think
I
of
have
some. We'll
5.
come to you a little later then, Beth, because
I'm gonna
I
stick with
think
my
you can think of a
1.5.
few more.
I'm just gonna add my input onto your guys's.
Perfect. Matt, why don't you start us off?
All right, so I will say my favorite queue is Flight of Passage.
Totally fair. Yeah.
I hands down, it's the best queue. I don't even know how to like. I mean, it's amazing. The whole going in to the mountain thing, and then there's the remnants of the RDA. Then you get into the laboratory where you have some really cool special effects, and then the Avatar floating in the tube is
Yeah.
amazing. And then even I don't know if we're counting like the little pre-shows and everything.
Sure.
But the pre-show queues, or part of the ride, I guess you would say, is amazing. And I'm so glad that the year that it opened, I went to the soft opening Flight of Passage as opposed to Blizzard Beach.
I think you made the right move. Yeah.
Good call.
But yeah, so that's my number 1. I would have to say my number 2 is Everest. I love that queue. There's so much to look at. I love all the little historical things they have through it. And even though as much as it annoys me I love the bells. And all
I've been
the
annoyed by
prayer
those
flags.
bells plenty, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't over there trying to ring them too. Oh, and plus there's crap in the line, like literal crap.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's
True.
there's dung
There's Bigfoot crap,
or scat, right?
Yeti
Is that
crap, scat,
There you
Yeti scat.
Shoobity bop bop bop.
Wow.
Um,
Matt's the
I'd
scat
have to say
man.
number 3. What?
I said you're the scat man.
Oh,
Isn't that the name of the guy that sings the song?
Learning some things
It
about
is.
Matthew. Mm.
number 3 is Tower of Terror, Florida.
I don't think anyone was
Uh,
surprised that you were going to go with Florida when
Yeah.
mentioning Tower of Terror.
I mean, although I only like it when like the misters are going that are in the queue, so it kind of looks, scary and
Spooky.
mysterious. And plus, the music is good. Everything's cool to look at. It's very authentic. I love it. Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I love all of the Marvel references. I like looking in little boxes and seeing what stuff is in there. I love the pre-show video. I like that they took an okay queue and made it even better. Everything's just fun to look at, and I like that they keep changing stuff.
That is nice
Well,
that it has
kind of.
different things going in there. Yeah, a little bit.
And
Plus, there's
number
a little
5.
figment in there.
What? Oh yeah,
Plus, there's a little figment in there.
Yep.
A figment.
And the old Herald and the Doris. Is it Doris?
Doors.
What's the
Octopus?
name of the
Octopus thing?
octopus?
I don't remember the name of the octopus.
It has a name. I can't remember.
Let us
Uh,
know on Instagram or social media.
Oh,
Twitter.
what's the octopus name?
And I would say number 5, which I'm not a huge fan of the ride, but I think it deserves to be mentioned for the queue, is Indiana Jones.
Totally.
Because I remember as a kid, the fact that there were interactive elements inside of a queue was amazing. And to this day, I still walk by and push on the pole, even if it's not working. It's just like,
You have to
Tradition.
do it.
yeah, it's like muscle memory.
We have to remember that Indiana Jones was such an innovative ride when it came out, and that queue followed suit as well. I think it was very much the first time we saw something so immersive from the start to the beginning. And obviously that queue is there out of necessity because they had to go underneath the train tracks and go pretty far to the show building. But obviously that made it that much better because they had to do that and they had to make such a incredible queue. But I think that's a very fair top queue right there.
I do have a little additional thing though. About Everest. I do like that with the addition of Fast Pass Plus and My Magic Plus and stuff. I love when there's interactive stuff in the queues that changes. So like when you're in, the area before you get on the train and they have the billboards and they look like they're paper, but they change, but like your name will pop up on it.
Oh yeah,
That's really cool.
I mean, that kind of stopped working, I think, for a while, right?
No, it was still
Was it
working.
working when last time we went? When we
I don't know
went?
if it was working when we went, but I know I've had my name on there before.
A lot of that My Magic Plus stuff, I hope they are able to still incorporate a lot in the future, because I know they were really trying to do a lot with that, like with Small World and other areas, and having it be more interactive. It'd be really cool if they had that in some more.
It worked on
queues
us
and
for
more
Small World.
rides. Yeah.
Except Braden didn't show up on it.
I don't know why.
It's because Michael had his first name and his middle name. So
There's
it took all the
not enough
space.
Womp womp.
That sucks.
No.
But yes, those are my top 5.
Excellent. Well, let's go to Derick.
All right, so this was a really hard topic, but I think that hands down, my very favorite queue would have to be Emotional Whirlwind at California Adventure. And I'm totally kidding. Like, that's the lamest queue ever. But
It was
Yeah,
Maliboomer, right? That was
there you
it,
go.
yeah.
That was my absolute favorite. No, but Matt, I'm in agreement with a lot of what Matt had to say. I think for me, Flight of Passage was really, really awesome to see. Although I only got to see parts of it because I hear that, you miss a lot if you have a fast pass for the ride, right? And I only got to see that piece of it. But for that little portion of it, I was already blown away. and impressed with all of the specific details that they put into it. So I can only imagine how much more I've missed and what I've seen in pictures and snippets of YouTube videos. So I am really, really impressed with that queue. And I think part of it too is the excitement from the day. Was that like the first ride we went on?
Remember, we also went there for opening, and we rushed over there, and we ended up being there so quickly that the queue was not full. Therefore, they bypassed us from going through the cool area. And so I was even upset. I was like, "Oh, Derick's not getting to see the really cool part." Because there's a whole area that is like indoors, but feels like you're outdoors, and that you didn't even get to see. You know, it was all nighttime with the
bioluminescence.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
All those effects throughout the queue that unfortunately you didn't get to see.
So something to plan for next time, definitely. But yeah, so that's gonna be on my list. The next one up for me, I would have to say Rise of the Resistance, and I hope that I don't give anything away to anybody who hasn't already been on it, but I just feel like the way that they set up the whole experience, that the queue is actually already like part of the ride, and the whole, you know, like different segments, different things going on throughout the whole thing. It was just a really smart way to push people through to where they don't feel like they're waiting in line, but they're still experiencing a Star Wars experience. Like that in and of itself was so amazing to me, and so that's definitely one of those on my list. The next one, I would have to say I agree with Matt on Everest. I just feel like that's such a layered queue. Like it really helps to put you into the place that they want you to be in, like, you know, in at the bottom of the Himalayan mountains, right? And so I love seeing all the details. It just feels so immersive. And I mean, I guess you could say that about a lot of the queues at Animal Kingdom, and just all of the details everywhere you go. I was really, really impressed with everything that we saw there. But Everest definitely is an impressive queue in and of itself. Next up, number 4, I would have to say Ariel's Undersea Adventure at the Magic Kingdom. Matt has this weird look on his
I had a look on my face.
I think it's really, maybe it was just the feeling for me, because ours in California Adventure is pretty underwhelming. Yeah. And so when we went on that ride in Florida, I'm like, wow, like if this was how it was in California, it really could help to put you in the time and place of what they're going for. The whole nautical theme, undersea, you know, it's not just the ride itself. The queue plus the ride, it feels like it completes it. And I think that that's kind of what's lacking in the California version of it. So
it's just not the grave. Of Golden Dreams.
Exactly.
Well, that queue over in Florida definitely makes, I think, the ride better, even though it's the exact same ride, but it pluses it up, right? But I think it's a case where the queue's better than the ride, personally.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point of, like, you know, this topic is queues are, that's what they're supposed to be, is the build up to the ride, the whole excitement and anticipation you get, thinking about what you're going to experience, and you know, really setting the mood. So that's on my list. That made it to my list. And then last but not least, I would have to go with Radiator Springs Racers. It's just really different. Like you feel like you're out in the desert, you know, all of the different plants that they put in place, the dirt, you know, the mountain range as a backdrop. You can't beat that. And then just the sounds of the racers going by. Everything together is just really cool to think that they came up with that. And right there in California Adventure, it takes you away to another time and place. So that's really impressive for me.
I gotta say with Radiator Springs Racers that it was, I feel like for me, it was the first time I felt like they built something new that had that feeling of, I walked through, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like my little part, you know, quote unquote my part, because it's I'm always here or always there. But this felt like a totally different experience, and not something we're always doing and seeing when we come to the park. And I really felt like kind of not out of my element, but I'm immersed in something new. And, you know, that's something where Galaxy's Edge has been able to do for me, but it hasn't happened often because we didn't have a new e-ticket for such a long time. All right, well, I think I'm going to go over to Braden if you're up to it. Do you have what are your favorite cues?
I got 5 of them.
Wow, you gave Braden the memo and I missed it somehow?
I mean, that's your problem, Beth.
Everybody else got it.
I don't know.
So I think a lot of this has already been said, but the first one for me is Flight of Passage as well. I think probably the favorite part to me is like the outside but inside elements to the ride or to the queue. I'm sad that I only got to see it once, but that's the unfortunate thing with Fast Pass and how they do it, because you pretty much skip everything except for like I think the cave part you do see when you use Fast Pass, or at least you see a portion of the cave part. But otherwise, yeah, but the lab section's pretty amazing with all the little effects they have, and each little experiment they're doing is pretty cool. Second for me is Rise of the Resistance. I was thinking about it because I think if it was just based off of the initial cave portion, it probably wouldn't be on my list at all. But I think the whole experience of like even taking out the pre-shows, but going on the ship with that part of the line as well, and how all the cast members get into it, like some more than others, but I love how they kind of get some of their acting chops down there as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then for number 3, I put Indiana Jones. I think I just love the atmosphere of it. I mean, I love like the temple drum music in the background, and I think one little thing I've always liked too was, can't describe where it is, but sort of in the main hallway of the queue where you're kind of going down, where you can kind of see the cutout of the ground above, of the land above you. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. It's like, you're actually underground and under Adventureland. So I really like that part of it as well.
You know what I miss?
What do you miss?
AT&T advertisement.
Yes.
When you leave?
AT&T. Choose wisely.
It's still there. It just doesn't say AT&T.
I think they changed the saying. It says like exit this way or something. They actually finally removed the thing that said like choose wisely.
Oh, maybe.
Well, that sucks.
Boo.
How dare you?
Maybe we'll do a correction on it in the next episode, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We need to actually be able to go back and check.
All right.
And then, so for number 4, I put Tower of Terror, obviously at Disney World. And I just I think it's like the ultimate build-up. I think it's just super realistic. Like, it doesn't feel forced in any way. Like, you just walk into it, you see the hotel tower, you see the overgrown pathways. It feels authentic, right? Yeah,
like
exactly.
It feels, you go up there, you have the mist going, the music is just subtle, but you go in there and you're like, as soon as you walk through those gates, you're gone from the rest of the park.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rock and Roller Coaster is just on the other side of the hill, and that little mound that you walk by, and you have no idea. You can't hear anything. You're totally immersed in that queue, as if you're in Tower of Terror. Matt's doing the shocker right now.
Oh, yeah.
Rest in peace.
I love that they actually made a mound that you can go up on for the queue.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really cool. It's not.
Well, it gives it that forced
perspective
surface too.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be when you're walking up to it that it feels like Tower of Terror is built on a hill, when in reality it's not. But they have that hill up front to make it really seem like it's built on a hill and that ominous feeling.
Yeah, and I love how when you get up to the lobby, right before you go inside, you can look out and all you see is trees, and you're just you don't know you're in a theme park. It's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, I put Roger Rabbit. It's not another one I don't see very much just because of the way their Fast Pass is set up, but it's pretty cool. I feel like it's the area around the ride isn't very big, but when you go in there, it's this really feels really long and detailed, and I've always liked it. But
that's a good one.
Can't remember the last time
I didn't even think about it, but that is a really good queue and long,
really
and it
miss
just keeps
everything.
going and going.
Yeah.
I don't remember that queue whatsoever, so I'm gonna have to check that out next time.
Just
Are you serious?
Fast for it.
It's been so long since I've been.
I know, it's been a long time.
I'll have to pay a visit.
All right, well, let's go over to Beth. What are your top 5?
Okay, well, I still don't have 5.
What's your 1.5?
Did you scramble?
Maybe you got a second one.
No. Okay, so actually Roger Rabbit was on my list too. That was my half one. I have been in that queue recently because my child loves that ride. That's one of her favorites. And so we've been through the queue multiple times. And it's super detailed. It really takes the whole theme of Toontown and brings it right inside the queue. So you still feel like it's all very cohesive, but it's definitely the seedy underbelly of Toontown. So it's really cool to see. You can see Jessica Rabbit and Baby Herman, and it's a very fun queue as long as you're moving through it kind of quick. And the ride is still fun, but the queue itself is actually pretty impressive. My main one is Indy, always. Just walking through that queue, as Matt said, all the interactive elements, which were so new for the time it came out, so innovative and inventive. I still get that wow feeling when walking into the rotunda, and you just kind of see that this huge room opens up and you see Mara up there, and it's just still very impressive to me all this time later. It's beautiful. It's actually a beautiful queue to walk through. I mean, besides when you're walking through like the bat guano, that's kind of gross. But in general, it's a very beautiful queue to walk through. So those are my two
Those
favorites.
spikes is beautiful.
Yeah, those beautiful spikes that look very
with heads on them.
Yeah, they're something. But those are like really my two favorite. I have not been on Flight of Passage as a note, so everyone else is going to mention it, and I won't because I have not been on it. Rise of the Resistance, though, is also a good one. Just all the amazing details, and then when you actually feel like you're on the ride, when it's not technically the ride itself, it's just that all those feelings that are happening at that time is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to do I'm going to give it an honorable mention in like the weirdest way to the Winnie the Pooh queue at Magic Kingdom. Now it seems so gross. It's like so disgusting now.
Not touching that.
I cannot imagine touching all that. But
All that wall.
but in the before times, it was so nice to have all that to entertain like a kid. Like my kid was entertained the whole time through that queue, touching everything.
Mm-hmm.
There was other kids around and she was enjoying interacting with them. And it was just a really fun experience for her. So I liked seeing it through her eyes. Like if you look at it, it does not look that amazing, but just all the interactive elements were really cool. Those probably will not be used for a while, but kind of gross now thinking about it. Although I did bring hand sanitizer, so put that on afterwards. But just all those interactive elements, even though they're not maybe themed in the best way, they're not hidden in on caves and caverns, they were still really fun to see the kids utilize. So that gets an honorable mention from me.
That's good. I'm glad we have your take on it too, because you have a different perspective with the young in there. And then you're absolutely right. I mean, it may not be the best themed or theming, but it keeps your children entertained. And makes the parents happier too, because the children's aren't
exactly. And in her eyes, it was magical. How is this happening? How am I touching this, honey on the wall? And it's in her eyes, it was magical. We see it, we're like, oh, it's a video screen, but to her, to a child, it was extremely magical. So it was nice to see that utilized.
We did learn on our last trip how you could move it without actually touching the screen. You can just get really close to it. That's what they should put a note above it. Just put your hand really close.
Don't have to touch where everyone's touched.
Well, I'm going to reiterate kind of what everyone else has already said. So I'll try to be brief because I think Matt and I think ours are very similar. And well, to everyone's point, obviously Flight of Passage. I think we've explained that one enough. But again, I just love one. It's really long. I mean, I don't like waiting for a long time, but it is a long queue with a lot of details all throughout. So I thought that was really impressive with how much effort and time that was probably put into making especially the interior parts look so impressive. Same with walking up the hill. Mm-hmm.
Didn't they add a restroom in it?
It would be good if they did. And then Indy, I have a lot of memories going through that queue for the very first time too. And I remember going through that with my family. And I remember walking by that rope that says, "Do not pull rope." And my mom got mad at my brother because he pulled on the rope and she hit him and goes, you're not supposed to pull on the rope. What are you doing? And of course, me being, a young teen there, just going, "Mom, come on." Like that, obviously it's supposed to be pulled, and I was kind of embarrassed by her, but good memory there.
Hi, Kills Mom.
Yeah. She may end up listening. We'll see. And then Rise of the Resistance. You're right, Brayden. Like that first part of just like the rocks and going through the bunker isn't that impressive or different, I guess, from some other ones we've seen. It's just everything after that, which some could argue it's kind of part of the ride, but it's not really. But that whole thing really is so incredible that it goes from, even the cast members change from one point to the next to being a totally different character. And then also Everest, I put that in there as well, just because I think there's a lot of attention to detail on that, but we've already talked about that a little bit. And finally, the land. I did that
land?
just living with the land. I did that just for Matt's face. You got
There is no queue.
Exactly, because I'm kidding. It's terrible queue. Come on,
Terrible ride.
I love the ride.
Excuse
We'll argue
me.
about it later.
I have
Can
got
we?
notes.
Yeah, we'll discuss that one later. But I was totally joking because the land.
Just sit in a shopping cart and go through the nursery at Home Depot.
Are you going to sing the song to me? Are you going to hum it? Are you going to have Mickey-shaped fruits and vegetables
I
for
had
me?
to stop and think about what song it was.
Okay. Continue, Joel.
No, but finally, this is kind of an odd one, I think, but it's Frozen Ever After. I really thought that queue was impressive, and I think it helped that I didn't see much before I went on it, because I just was trying to go in a little blind. I saw some video of the ride, but I didn't see the queue. And that queue beforehand with Maelstrom was like uneventful. It was carpeted wall and nothing going on in there except one giant.
I would have loved if they had integrated the mural into some sort of Arendelle.
Okay, that would have been sweet. They
That
should have
would've
done
been
that.
cool.
Yeah,
I would have
they
loved
should
that.
have done that. Yeah,
With the Viking with his windswept hair.
yeah. But again, it's the whole indoors outdoors thing, right? You're going through that queue, you're indoors, and it's supposed to be outside at night, and it's just great seeing the faux exterior buildings and so forth. But I was impressed with how much they were able to do in that area that before was either carpeted walls and nothing, or a theater that nobody sat down and watched and just used it as a quick exit.
With the most IKEA like chairs you could possibly find.
Those are some funky chairs. Yeah. And I do have an honorable mention. I am going to throw this one out there because I don't think it gets enough love. And it's
Emotional whirlwind. Darn.
It's Cali River Rapids. Just because I think that queue is really well done. There is a lot of details in there. That the area once you go inside too has a lot. It's very Everest-like. And if you ever had a chance to walk through there kind of in the evening or when it starts to get dark, it's really cool with just the lighting and kind of the almost natural mist you get from all the humidity too. But I really liked that queue.
And what's funny is that ride has always been really boring to me. But the last one that we went on with that lady that was like losing her
screaming. Yeah.
Oh my God.
She was cussing
was
up
amazing.
a storm with her kids. And
We have the video.
We have the video. Mhm.
Mothers who cuss around their kids is just fine.
Oh.
This was just comical though, with how much she was cussing. And she even pointed at me and she's like, "You better not put this on YouTube." I put
As
it
she's
on.
That was the
laughing.
best part.
Yeah.
I
I edited
love
out
that
to
video.
just that part. Yeah.
So I did check. I went back to check, and they did actually add a restroom to Flight of Passage's queue. So
You're
I
wrong,
think-
Joel.
so I think that one takes the cake. Like, just because of the topic we were discussing earlier, I think that was really
Your need
smart
for a
on
restroom
Disney's part.
Cues that topic.
Yes,
There we go.
it's so smart.
It is
To-
smart,
To
especially
be fair, I
for
said I don't know. I didn't say it wasn't there.
especially for attractions where it's going to be a really long wait.
Mhm.
That is very smart.
Right? Good on Disney.
Braden, did you want to bring up any Tokyo Disney queues? Maybe an honorable mention from over there. We did say only stateside, but I think we could do an honorable mention because Braden and I
Wow.
have been to Tokyo Disney.
Yes, we
Wow.
have met.
Wow.
We'll get everybody there eventually.
Oh,
We'll
you
get-
can
we'll
bring
get
up
there.
Tokyo, but I can't alliterate more on Universal.
Of
All
course you can. Oh yeah, I said to everybody, the honorable mention Harry Potter would be talked about. And we said Harry Potter was. I mean, both of them.
Telling you, future podcasts, an entire episode devoted to Universal.
Goody.
And you're going to love every minute.
We will. We have no qualms with Universal. Stop moving your mic.
I put my phone I know.
Wow.
Let me just say for everybody that's listening, these guys always make fun of me because when I record, I always lay in my bed. Beth calls me a starlet. So today, I grabbed a tray table and my really, really uncomfortable chair,
That's
and I
what
made a
looks
makeshift
different.
desk. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I almost kicked over this desk because I got an awful cramp in my thigh, which is now completely extended onto the bed.
Just
So-
go back to your
All
bed,
right.
Matthew.
Just go
You
lay
I
don't want to
down.
wanna
knock over
try-
your drink.
I got tired of hearing it all
Wah, wah.
the time.
Okay, back to Tokyo. Is there anyone that you would say totally stands out for you in Tokyo?
I would probably say Tower of Terror.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of the cues, I feel like a lot of those memories are kind of fading a little bit for some of them. I haven't really watched like videos since then or anything, but
But you have
I
that
thought
idol. Tower of
I know
Terror.
exactly.
The disappearing idol.
So, the whole pre-show and stuff was really cool, and I mean, it just kind of outdid all of them, really.
I couldn't
Um,
figure out how that effect worked until I finally looked up how it how it worked. I probably shouldn't have done it, and it's obviously more simple than I was expecting. But everyone's flipping us off on our video chat right now.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
But I like how I mean, it's the same ride that we had in at California Adventure, but they totally rethemed it. You have giant paintings of Joe Rohde. I mean, you can't go wrong with
Right.
with that.
Excuse me, Harrison Hightower.
Yes, Harrison Hightower, right? And then like all the mask. I think they were right before you get on the actual elevator up on the wall, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you
Did I
say.
even go? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I do kind of remember the loading. It felt like ours, but just more of a museum feel to it, I guess. But I don't remember
Yeah.
the masks, but I'm sure they were there.
Well, that one's obviously a good one. I have to throw in Journey to the Center of the Earth, just because they
yes.
have like the hydrolators, but not hydrolators because you're going to the center of the Earth and not going into the water or into the bottom of the sea like the seas. But I mean, that was really cool to see that they still have something like that where you're going down a fake elevator that totally looks real and have like the movement on your feet. And then just the cave and everything I thought was really well done.
You know who does that better? Universal.
You haven't even been on Journey to the Center of
I've
Earth,
been
so
on Gringotts. So,
No,
I'm
you
just
haven't been to Tokyo though.
mm,
You know what really made me
Mm.
jealous?
Debatable. He might have been.
debatable.
What really made me jealous of Tokyo was their new queue for Soren.
Oh, don't get me. Oh,
Oh
I'm
my
so mad at
gosh.
how well they did Soren over there.
Yes, it's
and that
perfect.
pre-show thing. She
I just
steps
can't
out of the
believe.
freaking picture. I don't even know how that worked.
I totally wish we had that version, but you know,
Yeah,
there's
don't
always
be too
Tokyo.
jealous of me. Keep in mind when I went, Indiana Jones was closed, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, and Splash Mountain. So they were all closed when I went.
We called ahead and asked them to close that because we didn't want you to have more fun than we did.
Well, I saw all those, so.
Oh,
We like Braden more, so we didn't
Who
call
invited
that
him?
trip.
all right. His last episode.
First and last.
One time.
Derick, you would have a lot to say if you would, in one of your 1,000 trips to Europe, actually stop at, Paris once or
I
once
know.
in a while.
I was so mad I didn't go to that park while I was in Paris.
We are
and I've been
too.
to Paris twice.
Yeah, we're
and
mad
So right?
at you.
I was so embarrassed to tell you guys I didn't actually make it up, but there's always the next time. We can all
Tomorrow?
go.
What?
That you won't go again.
Okay, December 2020.
Well, those are really good, guys. Thanks for everybody for doing that. So of all of those or any attraction really, are there any that you're still truly afraid of or maybe possibly of dying on, or which one like possibly gives you like the biggest oh shit moment? I mean, let's admit it, it's still scary, at least for some of us, still scary going on Big Thunder at Disneyland, knowing exactly where and what happened during that incident that we shall not speak of more of. But anybody else have one they still get nervous about going on? I'll keep to this. I'm going to keep this to Disney only because there are some other parks I question.
Just in general.
Yeah, just in
people
general.
don't die at Universal.
But I mean, let's face it. There's plenty of other rides like at a amusement park or a Six Flags that may be a little bit more scary for other reasons. I myself, I still get scared going on Ghost Rider just because that is pretty wild, and I feel like I'm going to die just from every turn on that. But I still love it. But what about you, Beth? What's some scary attractions for you?
Well, for me, the Sun Wheel, the Fun Wheel, the Pixar Pal Around, whatever you'd like to call it, in any of its incarnations. I actually do enjoy it, but I am still always slightly terrified that somehow the moving car is going to like fling itself off in a moment of like momentum and just shoot across. I think it might.
Final Destination is
I
this?
don't know, but sometimes I worry that it could happen. I've seen Derek's face on it multiple times. I think he thinks the same thing. So
I do.
And Logan, my kid, she loves it. Like she's always asked to go, Mom, can we go on the Ferris wheel? Like every time. So I mean, I've had to get a little bit brave. Yes, always. You've been on it with us.
Oh, that's right.
You remember she asked to go on it, and then she like hangs on like a terrified death grip the whole time.
With a weird smile on her face.
Yeah. Oh, this is fun. And then also, I always get a little bit nervous still about the Columbia. Always, if I'm on it, I always just have a little bit of
Just
fear.
hide from the rope.
On any of the boats. Like I know they have increased their safety practices greatly since then. But I always just, have a little moment of, oh, shit.
This happened here.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those are probably my two.
Awesome. Matt, what about
Was I
you?
supposed to come up with 5 this time?
Oh, you're
No.
good.
Okay.
For me, obviously, like you said, Thunder, but that's a whole different topic. But I will say the one ride that I am still not terrified, but when I get on it, I'm like, oh God, please let me get through this, is Mission Space.
Mhm.
That's some crazy shit.
It's so small inside. I
Well,
hate it.
I mean, it's notorious for making people sick. It's also killed 2 people. I have a little snippet here. It says, from June 2005 to June 2006, paramedics treated 194 Mission Space riders.
What?
The most common complaints were dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. Of those 194 guests, 25 people passed out, 26 suffered difficulty breathing, and 16 reported chest pains or irregular heartbeats. I mean, that's not really something I want to worry about when I'm on a theme park attraction. They
You're
have
just going for
since-
authentic space, training.
and
feel.
it is. I will say, if anybody out there has not been on Mission Space, it's intense. Heaven forbid you look off to the side.
Oh my God.
Well, and
Don't
cue in.
do it.
This is
You will
why
wanna
the
die.
green version.
Oh,
came.
gross.
Yeah, and that's why they had to do the green and the orange, because the orange is just way too intense for everybody. Although
It's
we
just
did
practice
do
for SpaceX.
the green mission last time, and
I'm green team all the way.
without the intense spinning, it's really boring. But at the same time, I didn't have to worry about my brain exploding.
True.
I mean, it's still one of those rides where, like, when I go, if I don't go on it, I'm not upset about it.
Right.
Six
Derick?
Flags, that's a whole other story.
What about you, Derek?
So it's weird. I get this weird feeling when I visit Star Wars Launch Bay at Disneyland.
Really?
Because of the history with
Mhm.
the rotation of the room. I feel like I'm
It
gonna get
doesn't
my foot
rotate
stuck.
anymore.
It doesn't even move.
It's like sealed.
If you
I
crush
know, but
yourself,
just the idea
it's
of,
your fault.
just the stories around that building, just
Didn't that
knowing
happen at
that.
Disney World? Or wasn't that?
Was it at
Oh,
Disney
was-
World?
No,
it
that was here.
It was
Is
here.
that here? Oh,
Yeah, it's stupid, but these are not very
Is that more of
reasonable.
oh shit, or you're afraid of the ghost?
No, just the thought of like crushing between the wall. Well, maybe that's a little morbid to say.
Of the building that doesn't move.
I didn't say it was a rational pick, but there you go.
We
I
did
love
not
it.
ask for rational picks.
Love it.
Yeah.
That was not a rule. That's good. That's fine.
Well, then if
Anyway.
we're adding other rides that we're afraid of dying on, is the land of boredom.
Oh my god.
Get out of here.
You're
Wow.
fired from the podcast. Braden, you're hired. We're replacing.
Placing you.
He's the mid-season replacement.
I'm not really scared of I love, I'm a thrill seeker, so I love going on scary rides anyway. But I think that just like growing up and thinking about my childhood, I just always remember being totally freaked out about going on the Haunted Mansion because they would always warn me of being the there's always room for one more, right? And so I was so terrified as a kid. Matt's giving me that face again of being that one more ghost, that would somehow perish on that ride and get stuck in the mansion as the last ghost that they were looking for. So that was my nightmare as a child growing up. So there you go.
Awesome. Do you have one, Braden?
I have one. The only one I can think of is like Space Mountain, because I always feel like my head's gonna be chopped off the entire time I'm on the ride. I love it, but I don't know, that always pops in my head the whole time I'm on there.
More so Disney World or at Disneyland?
Really any of them. I think it's just because you're in the dark and there's just like a bunch of track and pieces all over the place. So
I'm gonna hold up
stick
your
hand
hand
out,
the entire
right?
time next time.
yeah, exactly.
Because so many heads have been taken off.
I know. See, it's another irrational one, but why are we laughing?
That'd be a sad episode.
Joel,
It's a
edit.
nervous laugh.
Yeah. Well, for me, mine was Dinosaur for the longest time, just because it's kind of ridiculous that one scared me so much, but up until recently, I was still like downright scared to go on that one.
It's terrifying.
There's a dinosaur that like runs after the car, or at least used to. I guess it's been fixed up, but there's some good scares in that one.
It's loud.
It's very loud, yeah, and dark. And while I don't hate Mission Space like everyone else kind of does, but I still get nervous that I'm going to pass out on that one as well. And then I'm going to add in Space Mountain at Disney World, not because I think out of our whole group, I probably like it the most, but I think it's scary as hell just because it is all over the place, and I don't know that track like I know Disneyland's. So when I'm going through it, I don't actually know the turns as well, and I also feel like it's gonna eat into my stomach in some of those drops because it's so violent at some points.
I know so little about that ride that the last time I rode it, I remember I was on it and I didn't know that one like drop, the big drop came, and I didn't have my lap bar down all the way, and I felt like I got like the ejector seat. But the worst part about it was I flew out of my seat, and then when I landed back down, I landed so hard that I farted.
God, why do you fart at everything?
Yeah, wasn't that
Talk
just
to your
last
natural
Tuesday?
gases. Yeah, oh God.
I landed hard.
Wow.
At least you weren't
Well-
behind me that time.
Finally, one
Goodness.
time.
Well, with that, does anybody have anything to add?
No, I think that's it.
That seals the deal. Wow.
So let's move on to why we are really here. We wanted to get into a little discussion about Paradise Pier versus Pixar Pier. I know this has been talked about a ton online, and it's still pretty fresh, but we did still want to talk about it because I think there's a lot to talk about, even with the nostalgia that we have towards Paradise Pier 1.0 and how much we loved the second iteration. But Beth, I think you have some stuff to start us off with.
Yeah. So you guys all know that Paradise Pier opened with California Adventure way back in 2001. Its original incarnation was a little bit more reminiscent of a modern, really tacky beachside town. from the SS Rustworthy all the way to Wolfgang Puck's on Avalon Cove. It was kind of a mishmash and a hodgepodge of all sorts of styles, but mostly just stucco and neon, and it was kind of ugly. But then in 2008, Toy Story Midway Media opened, and the whole tone of that district started to change. They started doing placemaking, and between 2008 to 2010, we saw the area kind of change from this gaudy modern feel to a 1920s Victorian feel. The facades received beautiful and ornate updates, and the boardwalk games were rethemed to fit the theme of that. The vaguely frightening Sun Wheel got a Mickey face and became the Fun Wheel. World of Color arrived, and perhaps most importantly to all of us, Paradise Beer Garden arrived with that as well. The whole area felt a lot more cohesive. And then just flash forwarding to 2018, the area was rethemed once more, for reasons not entirely making sense to me personally, to Pixar Pier as it remains today, for now, until they decide to do something else with it.
Well, I think you said it best, right? When we asked about your thoughts on Pixar Pier, your thoughts of it were...
It's okay. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
You were whelmed.
Well,
I was whelmed. Yeah. To me, it was not needed. It felt, to me, it feels more like a temporary thing where it's for an event. It's the Pixar event for 6 months. We'll leave it like this, but
I think we're also just don't understand why they decided to do it, especially when they doubled down on the Paradise Pier theme and try to make it 1920s and give it a time and place and
poured
did
all that money.
Yeah, all this placemaking, and then all of a sudden, we're gonna make it Pixar. What? And then
It was a John Lasseter wine nightmare.
that he didn't even
They
get
didn't
to
just
see.
pour in the money; they poured the wine.
I think part of the disappointment really is that they came out with that whole plan was it the Blue Sky Cellar where they came out with all those like the models,
Mhm.
and like showing us what a true Victoria style pier can look like. And so I was really excited to go back and see them do all of the things that they thought they were going to do, like plussing up the carousel and building the pier boardwalk around the Fun Wheel at the time. All those different things that they were not able to get to that first time around, that we're all holding our breath for to start to build for moving forward,
Mhm.
is what I was looking forward to, and then was let down with the sudden left turn to Pixar Pier. So it was just kind of a weird change.
I just don't understand, because they did go so into giving it a placemaking fix, and then even adding in, I mean, but they even had that Paradise Pier proprietor, Gustav Tinkerschmidt, that no one knows about. He had a safety seal, I know, on the Fun Wheel, and I think in another area, and he had a window above one of the games, and I think that window is gone, but it's gone. And it's like, well, obviously they were trying to go into something more themed, with more charm to it. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, this was in the 1920s, but now we're going to add in Incredibles that takes place in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And let's throw in Emotional Whirlwind. So I mean, I wish they kept. I know. I should have added that to my scariest ride too.
They're right back to that same mishmash. I mean, granted, it still looks a little bit better than
yeah, it's still better than 1.0.
1.0, but yeah, they're just right back to that mishmash of styles, and it just does not feel cohesive anymore.
Yeah, and then I like what they did with for Paradise Pier 2.0 with like removing the SS Rustworthy and Dinosaur Jack's Sunglass Shack. I'm glad that's gone, because
I will admit I do kind of miss Dinosaur Jack's. I really did,
but
cool.
It
did not fit with the 20s for sure. Like that, it did not fit with that theme at all.
It fit that Americana that they originally had with Route 66.
Yeah, the California style with just the
tacky DCA.
Yeah,
Tourist trap.
Exactly.
Perfect. But it was smart for them to remove that, and I like what has gone in its place. But then they got rid of the Orange Stinger, which makes sense because it was also tacky. And Silly Symphony Swings is awesome. It's based off of a Walt Disney short film, The Band Concert, which one is not even a silly symphony. And so what? And now it doesn't even make sense with having the pie-eyed Mickey on the Fun Wheel or the Pixar Pal Around, plus Mickey on top of the Silly Symphony swings to be a part of kind of Pixar Pier there. So it just, it's a mishmash.
Mickey's face is still on there, so all the Pixar characters know who their overlord is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why do we need to change the name of that poor attraction every time? Just let it have an identity.
Especially to what they changed it to. Like, that's just such a mouthful.
I was fine with Fun Wheel. That could just remove.
It could still be fun.
Yeah,
could have been the Pixar Fun Wheel.
Yeah.
What does Pal Around mean anyway?
Yeah, what does it mean?
I don't know.
Question.
What does Malaburritos mean?
It means Malibu burritos. God, they loved the Malibu puns. Maliburitos, Maliboomer.
They love puns in general.
They did. Did you guys miss anything from 1.0? Like from from Paradise Pier 1.0? Is there anything that you miss?
Yes.
It's been removed. What is it, Derick?
I miss the emptiness of the Cove Bar.
That is a good one.
That was the best part of Paradise Pier 1.0.
It was so shocking when that place started to have such a long queue or wait to get in. And it was just hard for me to go wait in that line knowing, man, a couple of years ago, there was 3 of us sitting at the bar. And
that was it.
No way.
Right.
that was it.
Yeah.
On a whim.
Wow.
I mean, I definitely miss the Wave Maker. The wave machine was pretty sweet.
And it sucks because it's still in there.
Still there. It could probably be turned on.
I'm thinking it's not turned on because it'll do something to the World of Color platform.
It added so much to that area, though.
It really did. It gave this like huge kinetic energy that with everything else moving, it really felt like it felt more like a, what?
Pier?
Pier, yes.
I said Peter.
That's I heard Peter too. Peter.
I'm like, sure.
But I will say, I was terrified though whenever I'd ride that and the wave machine was going, and if I was wearing white, because remember they used to dye the lagoon blue, so I was afraid it was going to get all over me and I was going to have blue spots all over my clothes.
Now it's just puke brown.
Yeah. But it really added to the feeling that you were at a beach, that you were at an oceanside amusement park as opposed to a pier around a pond. That really gave it that feeling, like that authentic feeling. I tell you what, I miss you guys. I miss Catch a Flav.
Yes,
that was the best.
It was so good. It was
The
like
swirls.
it was so cheap. I mean, even for the time, it was cheap. It was like $3 for a cone with a blue swirl around it. And they just like stopped doing it and just served regular soft serve chocolate and vanilla because they couldn't fix the machines. That does not make sense.
Well, now it's all gone.
Because you can get that ice cream
Across
at the Anaheim Convention Center. I get it every time I go to a convention. That's like the only reason I go to conventions is to get that ice cream.
Yeah, they can't be that hard to operate.
Yeah.
Or to keep working, I guess. But yeah.
I can't believe how long Maliboomer lasted, because that didn't end up closing until September of 2010.
Yeah, it was there for a long time.
But just remember, that ride's a blast.
It's a blast. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it was just an off-the-shelf thing, but
it was just
I loved it.
It was backwards Supreme screen.
Yeah, it just didn't fit though.
At the time, though, it felt appropriate. Like when it was first there, it felt appropriate. After they rethemed the whole thing to a Victorian era, it definitely did not fit that theme. Then it became a smoking area. So,
well, yeah, that was the sad part. Is that when they tore it down? I mean, which made sense. Like it softened up the area, but then it was like nothing for so long.
Box trees. Yeah, that was it.
Well, the worst part is that they told us that it was supposed to be the entrance for a new attraction coming soon.
Yeah, emotional whirlwind.
Yeah,
it did come.
The greatest attraction of all time.
10 years later.
We took it from another area of the park and rethemed it, redressed it. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to still see an original Paradise Pier 1.0 item, you can still go to the restrooms next to
the
former Burger Invasion.
Oh, I use those restrooms all the time. They have if you go into the They have
Companion?
the companion bathroom. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
still have like everything's still just like it was.
Yeah,
Nothing's
you
changed.
still have Route 66 going through the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cactus.
But that reminds
So-
I didn't even talk about Burger Invasion. I mean,
Yeah,
it
Burger
was
Invasion.
McDonald's.
It was McDonald's. It should have been an In-N-Out, obviously, but
Mhm.
I know
Okay,
why.
made sense.
Missed
I know why
opportunity.
it was a McDonald's because they had a contract with McDonald's. But
Yeah, and the fries.
what was the? Do you remember that sign? It's a meteor invasion.
Mhm.
A meteor
I
shower.
was just
a
trying to remember what it
meteor
said.
Oh, yeah.
With meteor crossed out and meteor written in. It's so gross.
With the burger.
Yeah, I do not want a shower of meat. It's gross.
Or do you?
Oh, I don't. That sounds gross. Oh gosh.
I was gonna say one of the really random things that I always remember from like the original Paradise Pier was remember the billboards. They were so like random, but then there was the Coppertone girl who used to have the butt crack,
Little tea.
and then
butt crack.
remember they ended up
They
painting
sealed it up.
over the butt crack
They
because
sealed
apparently it was inappropriate.
Oh my gosh.
That made
So
the billboard.
They colored over her butt crack.
So she just had like a unibutt.
She just had really low bottoms.
And it was already a smaller crack than what's on the bottle, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
exactly.
It was so innocent. That was a little
I was like, who
ridiculous.
complained about this?
Yeah. Can you imagine somebody actually walking after guest relations and complaining about that?
I can. I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Well, I guess I could. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the poor baby girl with her butt crack showing. I'm glad someone pointed it out, so now she doesn't have to feel indecent.
Oh God, it was
The girl
Derick.
from 1913. Like when,
Okay,
Karen
well, for
Delgado.
Pixar, for Pixar Pier though, I mean, I think that they did some elements right. Like, I really, really love the new entrance, right? So that part is pretty with the new turrets and the sign and everything else. And then the whole main center part with the arcade games, I think that they really plussed that up real nicely. But the other elements to it, like the, Jesse's Critter Carousel,
That's like
Although
my
I know
one
that
thing I
you-
like.
right? I'm sure you were gonna bring that up. But then that and like, the Incredicoaster, all great stuff in and of themselves, but it just brings back a sense of like weird tackiness, so to speak, if for lack of a better word, that it just doesn't seem to fit the theme at all.
Like
And
the
I-
Elastigirl, like at the entrance, seems so out of place to me.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And I really think they could have done a 1920s theme, Paradise a Pier theme, and if they really wanted to add like the whole IP thing with the Pixar, they could have done that, like bring in all those characters and associate the rides to them. But why not just keep them within the theme of the pier? That was my real gripe to there. Like I just didn't seem to. It didn't make any sense to me what they were trying to do, and what's scary to me is that I feel, like you said in the beginning, Beth, that it feels temporary, but I don't know if these things are temporary, and that's what really bothers me, is that we're kind of stuck with this now as the overall retheming of Pixar of the pier.
oh, it's definitely not temporary. Just look what they did with the stores, and that whole second half too was completely rebuilt.
I think we can all agree, though, one thing that they did do well was Lamplight Lounge, which
Yes.
Yeah,
which ended up coming out very beautiful. The food, so good.
Not
mean,
the price of the
Not
food,
the
but
price.
Yeah.
The price is
Yeah.
not great, but the food is great. Derek and I went to brunch there, and we had a
Loved
delicious
it.
brunch. It was so good, and that's one thing that they definitely did right with that theming. It felt natural. It felt like it's permanent, and it felt like it actually upgraded the place as opposed to kind of detracted from it a little bit.
yes,
Yeah, that
for
first
sure.
area with the new sign, with the new, with that lounge and the restaurant, plus even what they kind of did to retheme the store on the left to knickknacks. I think especially if you compare it to old photos of Paradise Pier, it does make it look a lot
Mhm.
better, and just like they actually spent some time to build something more than a box with stucco, right?
Right.
But then you keep going, and then you have those plastic stars from one of the shorts that fill the line of, the
the
those-
twinkle
the
lights.
star
Twinkle
vomit.
lights.
Yeah.
La Luna.
That, yeah, La Luna, thank you. That go from that to normal lights back to plastic La Luna light. It just doesn't. There's no flow, no cohesiveness, right? So hopefully in the future there's another remodel or a retheme.
Have you guys
It will be
eaten at-
as soon as Universal loses their rights to the Marvel characters. We'll probably have a Marvel superhero boardwalk, which I'd be okay with.
Okay, if we're gonna stick to the whole Pixar thing and we're committed to that now, right? It feels like that whole elaborate area where they have what is that band that plays now? The Pixar.
I don't think they play anymore. I
They
think
don't
their
play anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Their
no.
contract was ended. But
Well,
yes,
that whole area feels like it was built as a future entrance to some sort of ride, right? And if I'm gonna blue sky a little bit here, I would love to see, like, I always feel like the pier needed some sort of like tunnel of love sort of thing. And if they really want to go for it, they should do like the whole Coco
that would be good.
water boat ride, like that. They keep thinking about doing that for the Mexico Pavilion, right, at Epcot. And if they brought that to Pixar Pier, then maybe I'll love it a little bit more.
I don't know if they have a room for a show building back there, but
Well, one can
I wouldn't
dream.
oppose it. If they're going
Right?
to keep going with Pixar, then go for it. But I'm hoping they don't do anything, and then in 10 years we get something better.
Okay, I want to know, was anybody else disappointed with Bing Bong Sweet Shop?
I know Derick was.
I was disappointed.
Oh
I thought it
my
was going to be
gosh.
so much cooler. What's Derick? What are you afraid of?
well-
mention?
Well, I mean, to answer your question, I thought it was gonna be like a true candy shop,
I did too.
Mhm, yeah.
like at Universal, right?
Well, more like how the Harry Potter, they have like everything is themed to
Yes.
the land and
And it's not.
Honeydukes.
So
Honeydew. Yeah.
yes, Honeydukes, like Honeydukes.
I couldn't think of it. I was like, what's the name of it?
our version of Honeydukes at Pixar Pier, and no, there's like candy on the side with a lot of merch.
It's
And we
mostly
got-
store.
We got the static figure. We thought was going to be something so cool.
Oh
It
yeah,
Which
was
they
like
never
covered up
even
for
said.
months.
But everybody just
Yeah.
speculated that it was going to move.
We just assumed.
well,
we
I
thought it was
think
going to
that
be cool.
they tried
Well, it was
and they
covered
gave
up for so long.
and they just made it
True.
static because they couldn't do what they wanted to do.
But he really does look like he's made out of cotton candy. I do give them kudos on that.
That's
It
true.
does smell like it.
It does smell like. Can I tell my favorite story, Derick?
Fine.
So we were exploring Pixar Pier. We went to Bing Bong Sweet Shop, and Derick was very excited to get some popcorn. It was very colorful popcorn. It was all different colors. It came in a bag, and he was so excited. Did you pay for it before this happened?
I did.
Okay,
And I was so
okay.
excited because I was going to share it with everybody.
He's going to share with everyone. He went to open it, and the whole bag ripped open. Popcorn exploded everywhere, like everywhere. It was so comical. And
Embarrassing?
for somebody it was embarrassing. I thought it was so comical, and I was laughing so hard. And poor Derick, he was like, "Is anybody gonna help me?" He was just, his arms were full
No
of
one helped. You guys know in the movies when the really sad thing happens to that little poor kid in high school, and then you see everybody around in slow motion laughing and pointing? That's what was happening to me. It was the most traumatic experience with so many people walking through the store,
Oh.
and none of these people were helping.
I just imagine like the outro to Curb Your Enthusiasm. After Derick explodes the popcorn and it just fades to black.
And you know where that must have happened at. So did you just go through an emotional whirlwind?
I was having one in that moment for sure.
I will say that after Derick pointed out that nobody was helping and only laughing at him, I did help you pick up the popcorn. But
Yeah, like
it-
3 kernels. Thanks.
I was laughing really hard. My
Did they
stomach
give you
hurt.
a new one?
He
No.
ran out of there. He didn't even ask. He was like,
It would have been like the
Arms
little kid with the ice
flailing.
cream cones.
I should have asked for one, but yeah, no.
Oh, so those what are they called? Frosty slushies, whatever they're called, are so sweet. Oh my god, they are too sweet.
What are those called?
Memory.
Oh, yeah.
Memory
Remember
refresher.
Yeah, memory
Yeah.
refreshers. Yes.
Oh.
Good job
Wow,
refreshing our
Brayden.
memory.
It's a team effort.
They are really sweet, but the one that has like the habanero syrup in it is actually really good.
I think I had a sip of yours. But yeah,
It's
it's
pretty
just. But to be fair, I don't like ices or Slurpees, anyways. So I'm not a mixed drink or a frozen drink person. So
Maybe if
I
they put
am a
alcohol
mixed
in.
drink person, but I'm not a frozen drink person.
I was just gonna say that the things that I think the things that I do like about Pixar Pier is mainly the signs. We kind of talked about it, but I like the entrance sign. I like the pal around sign. The even like the Incredicoaster sign or the entrance is kind of cool looking, even though it doesn't
He likes
fit.
the sign.
Wow, you
That's
like a
all
lot
I
of
like.
signs.
They did a good
They do
job.
have good signage. Yes.
Did it open up your eyes?
Yeah.
He saw it. He saw the sign.
You know what's weird about that Incredicoaster area though? I thought that little thing on the side was gonna be a full-fledged fountain, and no,
Oh,
it's a
God.
rusty
Here we go.
trickle, little whatever broken.
Groans about it
faucet.
evere time he walks by.
I mean, it
Well,
is
what
pretty
is it?
bad, but it's a fountain. It just has water going down the side of it slowly and trickling and
Okay.
making
What did you
everything
think it
rust.
was going to be, like the
See,
Grizzly Falls?
Yeah.
The slow trickle makes Derick have to pee, so he does not like that.
I get it. The concept
Nailed it.
looked like it was spraying up like the one
Yes.
in Epcot, but that's just the design of the tiles.
And then they put it behind walls to quote unquote fix it, and then nothing happened.
It was clean.
They
For a
And the
cleaned it.
Incredibles logo didn't have rust on it anymore.
Maybe there's a big movie that comes out in the future that's based around a pier in the 20s, and they can have a
They
reason to
should.
retheme it back and bring back Gustav Tinkerschmidt.
Oh, let's bring him back. The fan favorite, Gustav Tinkerschmidt.
All right, well, let's fade into the sunset like the Maliboomer. Till our next happy hour, find us on social media. You can find our show handle on Twitter and Instagram at Off Harbor. Beth and Matt, where can we find you online?
You can find me on both Instagram and Twitter at Pixie Dust Vibes.
And you can find me on Twitter at ST1401 to Endor, or on Instagram at Lightspeed to Endor.
Excellent. And Derick and Braden have Radio Silence on the internet. And for me, you can find me on Twitter at Tangaroa Joel and on Instagram at OC Escapism. So we hope you have enjoyed this week's show and that this can bring you a little bit of joy during these times. If you've enjoyed us thus far, please don't hesitate to leave us an Apple Podcast review or share the show with your friends on social media. Ratings truly help bring visibility to the show. Regardless, we sincerely thank you for listening. To Nick and Joshua, I'm sorry we ran out of time this week. Maybe next time. Remember, we share the common bonds of hope and sorrow, dreams and joys. Stay well, and cheers.
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 You guys
These
suck.
are awful.
Next time.
Oh,
Wait,
Brayden loves
I
it.
wasn't finished.
Oh, go,
Oh,
go, go.
sorry. Go ahead.
What other irrational fear do you have?
I mean, if you decide to do this, you're gonna have to upgrade to the ball microphone.
I need
that we all
my
have.
own ball.
Yeah.
I know.
You can either get white balls or black balls.
I'll get a black ball. What?
We joked about this Paradise Pier this Paradise Pier proprietor. I can't even say it. Proprietor.
Oh no.
The
Need another
proprietor
beer.
of libation.
Yeah. So do you guys have anything else before I take us out?
Ooh. Date night.
Not to Pixar Pier.
By the way, I was looking this up. So it's 1944 for Coppertone, by the way. And let's see.
Are you showing?
Oh, so they were
what?
already off of theme.
Look at how much butt is in that.
Wow, there's quite a bit.
There is a lot. There was way less on the
Wow.
actual.
Oh, yeah.
She has a really low ass. Cheers.